kitchen. Hello,
Wow.
Ruby. We made it.
That's nuts.
It's crazy. It is crazy. How are you doing? Happy Friday.
Yes, happy Friday. I'm doing really well. It's feeling like springtime here in Colorado finally,
Nice.
and I am so excited about this show today. This is, as you know, one of our favorite wines of all time. Lizzie and I will find any excuse to drink this wine, but you don't
Yeah.
even need an excuse. You should just drink it
Just
whenever
drink
because
it.
it's
Just
amazing.
drink it. I've officially called this day Lazuli Day. I've been anticipating it all week long. So welcome everyone back. If you've joined us before, or if it's your first time, welcome to Community Kitchen by Portal. We gather here every Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific on Facebook Live to cook really delicious food together, taste really good wines, and join our community from around the globe. Where we can't be with each other physically, we will commune here. So before we dive into anything, the most important thing is to all raise our glasses. So
Yes.
I want to cheers to you. Happy Friday, chin chin.
Sprinkling.
And I will reveal the actual bottle of what we are drinking today. This is Aquitania Lazuli. This is 100% Cabernet Sauvignon from the Maipo Valley of Chile. We will talk a lot about this wine and why it is a gem from the Andes Mountains. But Rubia, tell us what we are cooking up today.
So I thought it would be fun. A lot of people think, oh, Cabernet steak, and something really like a big cut of meat that they're going to serve with this. I thought it'd be fun to mix it up a little bit and show how great this wine is to pair with really fragrant items like the ginger, the peppers, the garlic, and especially the basil. This wine has a lot of really wonderful like hints of eucalyptus or mint, and basil being in the mint family makes it a perfect pairing with this. So it's going to have a little bit of an Asian flair to it, and it's a really simple recipe. If you've got all your mise en place done, meaning everything in its place, I have all of my little goodies chopped up and ready to go, and then it just comes together in a matter of minutes, and it's going to be really nice with the wine.
I love it. Brilliant. I love Asian flavors like that. They're so satisfying. And I just love mixing that up in my cooking repertoire to have those flavors in it. And they're usually things you have in your cabinet for so long, and you're like,
yes,
yeah, I want to use soy sauce, or I want something with ginger. Awesome. Well, I'm so excited to have folks back on our live feed as well. So I want to share also for those of you who are joining us that Eduardo de Solminiac, who is a part of the Aquitania winery, he's the second generation, will be joining us as well in the chat. So if you have anything that you want to ask him.
Hi, Eduardo.
He's the best. He's the best. And I'll chat a lot more about him. Okay, so let's talk Cabernet from Chile. So Cabernet Sauvignon, it's a grape we all know and love, right? So Cabernet is one of the most planted varietals in the world. It's one of the most commonly drank varietals in the world. And most often we think about it from places like France, Bordeaux, or places like California and Napa. But I would say the hidden gem that lives in a country like Chile are its Cabernet Sauvignons. And that is because there's certain types of terroir there that are very similar to those more famous regions for Cabernet. So you can get the same quality Cabernet in these terroirs, in these different valleys. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to be a lot less expensive, but same quality than those other more known wines from other places in the world. So that's kind of the discovery that you can have with Cabernets from Chile. And that is completely the case for Lazuli. So this valley area is called the Maipo Valley. And when you go to Chile, you're going to land in the capital city of Santiago. And the Maipo Valley literally kind of encircles Santiago to the east. And this specific area where the Lazuli wine is grown, the vineyard, is in an area called the Alto Maipo, which means the higher up Maipo Valley. And as you go east in Chile, you're going up into the Piedmont of the Andes. And when you do that, you go up in elevation and you kind of have a wall of Andes Mountains right behind the vineyard, which is a really important factor in what that does to affect the climate of the vineyard and the style of the Cabernet in your glass. So when you drink wines from the Maipo Valley of Chile, there's a very distinct flavor profile, which I completely love. I was saying earlier this week that I'm not a huge Cabernet lover because usually Cabernets are bigger and more bold wines. They're higher tannin. They're more concentrated than other red wines.
Oaky.
Oaky, really oaky. You need to have food with them to kind of tolerate them on your palate. So I guess I was always in search for my Cabernet soulmate. And the first time that I tasted Aquitania Lazuli, it was like I found my Cabernet soulmate. It was like the sky opened and the birds sang. And it's because it's a lighter style of Cabernet. So with any of you drinking it or when you drink it, if you hold this Cabernet up and you look into a light, you can see through the Cabernet, which that usually is not the case. It's usually opaque because it's so dark.
It has this wonderful jewel tone to it.
It's very ruby in its color. It's so true.
And another thing about that lightness is it's a Cabernet that's actually a dream to pair with food. There are so many Cabernets that you try to pair anything with them and they overwhelm every flavor. This wine is just meant to go with food. It's just beautiful.
Totally. So with that, when you're drinking this Cabernet, you want to think more of the cassis fruit level of fruit flavor profile they're going to get versus like deeper, darker berry. And I want to talk a lot more about the story behind the wine as well. But Julie, if you want to start cooking away, you can too.
Yeah, let's do it because we can talk about the flavors that are going to go along with this wine and then learn a little bit more about what happens at Aquitania that makes this particular Cabernet so special. And I wanted to point out that when you were talking about the wall of the Andes, literally when you are at Aquitania, the winery, you feel like they are right there. You just have them literally in front of your face. It's the most stunning view, and it really shows you the importance of the mountains and how that affects the vineyards and the grapes, and we'll learn more about that as well. So I am going to add a little bit of oil to my pan, and the first things that I'm going to start sauteing are very fragrant. So this is going to smell amazing the entire time we're cooking. I have some chopped ginger and garlic that I'm going to add in there. Then I also have some chilies. Now you really could use any kind of chili pepper that you wanted in this recipe. I chose these red Fresno chilies for a couple of reasons. A, I think they're beautiful. They just are this stunning red for the dish. And B, they're usually never too spicy. They can have some spice to them. But if you're trying to cook for a couple different tastes, maybe in your family, this works well for us because they're not too hot. I also had some Anaheim chilies in my refrigerator, so I'm using those as well.
Nice.
You could use jalapenos. You could even use bell peppers. You just want some kind of chili pepper flavor in the dish. So I'm going to add these in as well. And having different colors is going to give a nice effect to the dish. And you just want to kind of do a quick saute just until you really smell the aromas coming out.
Yep.
Next, I am going to add my ground beef. Now, let's say you're not a beef eater, or maybe you prefer pork. You could use pork in this recipe.
Oh, I love that.
Ground turkey, ground chicken, that would be great. If you wanted to keep this recipe vegetarian, you could use a soy-based product that kind of mimics ground beef. Or I think a fun thing to try too would also be maybe some finely chopped cauliflower that you roast a little bit beforehand. That is also a great substitute for kind of a meaty texture for meat. So I have my beef in the pan. I'm just going to kind of let this get really brown on one side. I'm going to do just a little bit of seasoning of salt and pepper, not too much salt though, because we will be adding soy to this. And then I'm just going to kind of let this cook for a minute until it starts to brown. and I'll keep browning as you talk a little bit more about the wine.
Awesome. So I know a lot of you are just joining us. We had a little bit of lag time for our start. So welcome whoever just came on for Community Kitchen episode
Hello.
Episode 6. We are cooking an amazing Asian dish with Julie today, and we are drinking the one and only beloved Aquitania Lazuli Cabernet Sauvignon. So it is always an honor for me to tell the story behind this wine because I just adore this winery, this project, this family, the history, the whole bit. So this is a winery that's a partnership project. So there's a partnership of 4 winemakers. And when you get the bottle of wine, you're actually going to see the 4 signatures of the winemakers on the back. And 3 are French winemakers, and 1 is a Chilean winemaker. And the Chilean winemaker, his name is Felipe de Solminiac, and he is one of the most renowned, respected winemakers in Chile. And he has very much a background and his academic training in French winemaking as well. So one day, a mutual professor of his and another winemaker named Bruno Prats put him in touch with Felipe because Bruno was looking for another place in the world to make Cabernet Sauvignon. Bruno's from France. So he was having a lot of trouble finding the right vineyard around the world until he landed in Chile, and specifically this area of the Maipo Valley of Chile, tasted wines from there, and he said, this is where I want to make wine. And the amazing thing about the rest of kind of the caliber of the winemaking team here is that the 4 winemakers are Felipe de Solminiac from Chile, and then you have Bruno Prats, Guisan de Montgolfier, and Paul Pontellier, which are from Chateau Margaux, Bollinger, and Costa Sornel, which are some of the most famous chateaus and wineries in France. So essentially, putting all these winemakers together is like the dream team, superhero team winemakers of the world. It's almost like they need capes or jerseys or something. And of course, Paul Pontellier sadly passed away a few years ago, but his spirit and his family is still part of the project. So with that, what's amazing about that background and that story is that the reason Bruno, especially being from Bordeaux, loved this area of Chile is because the Cabernets have a very Bordeaux soul to them. So it's almost like this wine is a Bordeaux soul Cabernet in a Chilean bottle. And so when you taste it, we were talking earlier that this is a very lighter, earthier style of cab that I found that I absolutely adore versus kind of the bigger, bolder, more tannic Cabernets that you can get that have a bit more oak presence on them. So like we were saying, you can hold it up, you can look through the cab where usually it's very opaque, very dark. And the style of the cab is not only reminiscent of Bordeaux, but it's so indicative of the terroir in this area of Chile, the Maipo Valley. So when you smell the wine, talk about this aromatic sense of place. It is sage, eucalyptus, menthol, cassis. It's this beautiful assemblage of all of those aromatics. And then on the palate, you're going to get a lot of that cassis fruit, a lot of that earthiness. But again, it's very light with great acidity and structure as well. So it's a beautifully elegant Cabernet that I just absolutely adore.
And I was saying earlier that Lizzie and I will look for any reason to drink this wine.
Yes.
And I think that you don't need a reason, but I always feel like I want to have a specialness around this wine. An occasion, an event, or a really special dish, just because it is so elegant and it makes me feel like, oh, I am drinking something so exquisite that I have to be doing something exquisite with it. But it's just beautiful to drink at any time, honestly.
Yes. So we were chatting earlier that if anyone was joined us for episode 1 of the Community Kitchen, we were on Instagram Live and we tasted Mendel Semillon from Argentina. And I find 2 very similar parallels with these wines. Well, many parallels, but 2 main ones. The high quality, absolutely. One main element is that you should absolutely drink these wines now, but to age a bottle of Lazuli is one of the best decisions you're ever going to make in your life. Older vintages of Lazuli are gifts to this earth. They age so elegantly. They have such an amazing evolution in the flavor profile that they have. So I highly encourage when you get this bottle, and I'll talk more about how you can get this bottle, please get one for now and get some for aging, because you're going to thank yourself later. The second element is exactly what you're saying, like Mendel Semillon, Lazuli. It's like you want something special for it. You want someone who can appreciate it to drink it with you. But also know that this Cabernet averages from $35 to $40, which is so crazy in the world of Cabernet out there. Like people no question pay entry level cabs for $60, and that's just like, I understand if you want to follow a certain brand, but like you don't have to pay a lot of money to get excellent Cabernet Sauvignon. And that's where that secret kind of discovery of Chilean Cabernet lives. And especially from this region in Chile, the Maipo Valley, where the most iconic cabs from Chile come from.
And if you are lucky enough to get your hands on an older vintage, this wine ages extremely well. Lizzie and I are actually drinking different vintages today.
Yes.
I've been hanging on to this amazing 2014 that I had in my cellar, which is just perfect for this recipe today, because it has just a tiny hint of this kind of caramelized soy flavor to it, which I adore. So it's a very nice savory quality with still the freshness of the cassis and a little bit of minty menthol. It's going to be just amazing. And older vintages, we have such fond memories of as well. So try to see what you can get, because you will not be disappointed for sure. We're getting close on our beef here.
Ooh, nice.
Nice and brown. So once I got a nice brownness, I'm just kind of breaking it up into a little bit smaller pieces. And I still have a little bit of the juices and the fat in the pan, which is good, because now I'm going to add in just the most amazing burst of aroma you can imagine, which is my fresh basil.
Yeah.
Now I love leaving the basil in pretty big pieces. You could have whole leaves. My leaves were giant. They were huge. They were beautiful. Just because I like how the bigger leaf looks in the finished product. And I wish you could smell this right now. It smells so good. The ginger, the garlic, the basil that's cooking down now. It is just an amazing smell. And I'm also going to put in my carrots, which are a nice julienne cut, which means that they're sort of long and slender. The reason for this is so that the carrots will cook quickly. If you had big round chunks of carrots, they're not going to cook as quickly. So we're going to throw in the carrot. What the carrots will do is add a little bit of sweetness to the dish, as well as this wonderful color too.
Yeah.
So I think do a quick saute.
Quarantine is an excellent time to practice your knife skills and practice.
I was going to say, I have implemented culinary arts into my children's school curriculum. So I actually made them do a lot of the julienne cuts today.
I love it.
That was very good for their knife skills. So this is good. If you've got some time, practice chopping up root vegetables, and carrots are something you hopefully have on hand.
Totally.
They last a long time. Now I'm going to add in my scallions, which again is going to add another nice fragrance. I have these cut on kind of a diagonal, which I like the look of again, and it's nice and thin so that they'll cook quickly. And then the last key element here is I have my soy sauce and brown sugar mixed together. So the brown sugar is kind of dissolved in with the soy. And that's going to add the final touch for a little bit of sauce.
Oh, I love it.
And then at this point, you just want to let it cook down for another minute and you're done. I mean,
amazing.
How easy
so
was
fast.
That? Now to finish out this dish, I've suggested you can use rice, or you can use rice noodles like this. Now, rice noodles are great because you can cook them in advance. And I had cooked these earlier, tossed them with a little bit of sesame oil. And now all I will need to do is I'm just going to refresh them in a little bit of hot water in a pot, drain them again, and I could serve them over the noodles because my daughter and I are kind of the noodle people, and then my husband and my son like rice. So I also have some steamed white rice prepared. You could use any kind of rice that you want. And it's as simple as spooning some of this wonderful dish. I'm going to check for seasoning just to make sure we don't need anything else here.
Such good balance of heat and umami and freshness and herbaceousness.
This is an umami bomb. So good.
Yes, I love an umami.
I'm going to add a little bit more black pepper just for fun, you know. This is it's so delicious. Now, if you wanted to make this a little more Thai in flavor, and you happen to have fish sauce, throw in a couple of tablespoons of fish sauce. Give it a squeeze of lime at the end. You can mix this up, and you can use different vegetables too. If you have celery laying around, great. Cut up some celery really fine in the diagonal. Throw it in. You could finish this at the end with cucumbers. Really, the sky's the limit in how you want to finish it. Even sweet potatoes would be really nice. So,
I need to refresh my glass of Lazuli because it's already done.
Please do.
And as you're plating too, I want you to do the tasting, but I left the pièce de résistance for the last part. That why is the wine called Lazuli? So Lazuli is lapis lazuli, which is a precious gemstone, and it's most often harvested from areas in the Andes Mountains and the Himalayas, predominantly. So it's a really precious gemstone. It's very emblematic of Chile. And so the name of the wine, Lazuli, is the precious gem of the winery. And it's from the best soil blocks in the front of the winery. And they make it in the most special vintages. And I always I have a guy at a Santiago market named Gerardo, who is a jewelry maker in Chile. And he makes rings out of precious gemstones in Chile. And I always wear my lapis lazuli ring. And so whenever I present this wine, I feel like Vanna White, because it's like my lapis lazuli ring and my lazuli wine. How tantalizing is that? It's perfect.
It's amazing.
Great. So that is the name of the wine, and that's the color of the capital and everything. But it really, when we say it's like a precious gem of Chile, like I've never encountered someone taste lazuli and not be completely blown away by its quality, its elegance, and they just want to keep drinking more of it. So it's
I was going to say there could not be a better name for this wine, because this precious gemstone just goes back to not only the wine but the family itself and the whole idea around this project. Yes. I think we both have a very special place in our hearts for this family, the winery, and everything they are doing in Chile, and their wines are just exquisite. The hard work that goes into everything that they do really shows in the product. So
yeah, I think there's so much to say. I mean, they're so emblematic for Cabernets in the Maipo Valley, but Felipe was also the pioneer of planting in a very far south valley called the Mayeco Valley that really opened the map up to planting farther south in Chile towards Patagonia. Beautiful expressions of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. And because Bollinger Guisan is part of the project, they're also making sparkling wine, which is like the champagne of Chile. So it's just tremendous what these men and this family have really done in the history of Chile and its evolution. And we, as we've mentioned before, we lead trips down to Chile, and usually when we land in Chile, our first night is with Aquitania. And I don't even know how to explain the magic that you feel of watching sunset at the winery, because you're looking at one side, you're facing west, and you're looking towards Santiago, and you turn 180 degrees, and there's a wall of 13,000 foot Andes right in front of you, and they're turning pink with the sunset. And you're cheersing with Felipe and Eduardo, his son, and his other family that's there, and other teammates of the winery. And they cook the most special meal in their barrel room, and their cousins come to play music. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like
a visit to Aquitania is like a fairy tale experience.
It is.
And we here at Portal can't wait until we can take trips to Aquitania again, because it really is like one of those moments in life that you never forget.
Yeah.
It's such a special place, and the wine shows that. So
Amen. Okay, I want you to taste the 2014 with the dish. I'm so excited.
Yes. First, I am going to, I pulled out my favorite pair of chopsticks.
Oh, yeah.
An Asian theme. These are from my good friend Kelly. These are from Kyoto, and they are so beautiful and delicate. And
I love it.
I'm almost like, it's another thing, like you just want to use them with the most special dish and wine. So, okay, here goes.
I love it.
I'm going to try this.
I feel like I can taste the dish. Like tasting the wine, I can feel how all those flavors can work.
They flow seamlessly together. The little bit of spice from the Fresno chili and the amazing punch of the basil with the richness and umami of the beef just brings this wine even more to life. It's so delightful. I wish that you were here in my kitchen eating this with me. It's just not right.
Rubia, every week I feel the same. Let me tell you. I want everything packaged and sent to me.
I'm really excited. This is a great pairing. And I mean, look, this is like a fancy dish that you can do at home in a matter of not that much time with things from your pantry. And this wine will make it exquisite and special.
Totally. I, as always, like we talked about last week with Jimena, like I just want to give the most special shout out to the De Sauvignac family and having them welcome us with open arms every year when we see them. Eduardo comes to the US and we go crazily around different states and do a lot of events, and he's always just the best person to work with. So we love working with Aquitania and we love sharing your wine. So this is a very special day that we can share this wine. So as always, drinkportal.com, Pourtal, is where you can find all the recipes from past weeks, all the recipes into the future weeks, and all the wines that are paired with them. We also have all the wines that we offer on Portal, as well as all the sake. And we ship directly to certain states that you'll see listed there. And if we don't ship directly to your state, please reach out to us because we will find the best way to get the wines and sake to you. It's our pleasure and honor to get the good wine to the people. So know that's where you can find out more about Lazuli and how to get it. And do you want to talk about next week?
Oh, it's going to be so much fun. We have to still celebrate all these holidays.
I know.
So next week we are going to celebrate Cinco de Mayo with a crazy cool grape from Mayu Winery in the Elqui Valley of Chile, and we are making guacamole, but it's going to be a twist on guacamole because we're doing a sweet pea guacamole that is not only pantry friendly, but will last for a long time in your fridge, unlike avocados. So get your chips, stock up on some chips. Lizzie and I have mastered the art of a mixed chip bowl, and we'll talk about different ways to use this fun recipe, but the cool thing is going to be the wine, because this is a really interesting wine, and it's the most quaffable, delicious summer wine or any time of the year wine.
I will restrain myself from saying all the things I want to say about Mayu Pedro Jimenez, because I will save that for next week. But the amount of liters that I've consumed of this wine in my life may be a little offensive, but I always have it chilled in my fridge. It is the most fun wine to drink on your own at 5 o'clock on a sunny afternoon with friends, without friends, whatever. But the fact that we both are fans of puns, that it's Cinco de Mayo coming up, and this wine is called Mayu, so it's going to be Cinco de Mayo.
So we're going to just make our own holiday. Really means nothing other than drink great wine and eat really delicious snacks.
Yes. So. It's our if that's not our battle cry, I don't know what it is.
Yes.
Like delicious wine, salty snacks. That's what we want. So no, next week we are very excited for it. The wine is awesome. Get your snack bowls ready. This pea guacamole recipe, I can't wait to make. I'm going to make it next week because I want a chip bowl next to me too. And it's going to be great. So we will be back here on Friday on Facebook Live at 3 p.m. Pacific. And we want to thank everyone for joining us and being with us along the technological journey that we're on too. And Rubia, thank you for inviting us in your kitchen every week.
Absolutely, anytime. Every Friday at least.
every Friday. And then again, one day I'm just going to pop up in that screen. And it's going to be great.
Oh, it'll be amazing. I can't wait for that day to happen.
It'll happen. All right, everyone. Well, cheers to you guys. Cheers to the weekend. I hope you have a lovely, restful next 2 days, and we will see you next week.
Yay. Ciao.
Ciao.